Oh my gosh, what another week. Stomping Strong Show, episode 17. I am Stomp.
I'm Saad.
That's Saad. And, man, just a whole bunch of all kinds of stuff going on in my life the last 2 weeks. There's just a plethora of things to talk about. And sometimes me and Saad come onto this show and we don't actually know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And sometimes we have questions.
Sure.
And I don't think we have any questions.
No, I think the only thing we had this week was some troll popped onto our feed and called us skinheads. It's like, yeah.
We definitely have skinheads.
Yeah.
This is true.
We're definitely not in any way affiliated with the skinheads that are racist.
Yeah.
Or I really don't know anything about skinheads other than I think they're neo-Nazis, but I'm not sure. These are definitely not me and Stomp.
No, this is an interesting thing because I could see how you look at us and see the guns and see the knives and I might look like your henchmen or something, and like you make the decisions or something. A little bit older, a little wiser, Navy guy, 32 years. Yeah. They could see that.
Sure.
But to anyone that knows us, knows this is just insane.
Sure.
So we're not even going to entertain that. I did message Saad and said, Saad, we got called skinheads, and he goes, well, clearly, Stomp, we're not racist. And I go, well, yeah. So there you go. So I think that's going to happen on YouTube. We're going to get criticized
because you got people that they create these anonymous accounts and they just go and they throw little nasty jabs at people, and it's like,
We also have a down thumber now.
Nice, yeah. Maybe somebody didn't like our views.
They went back to all the videos and did it.
Did they?
They did. So we're making traction. I know that's great when you have when you have somebody go back and down thumb them all. So that's something I didn't even tell you about that, did I?
No.
I was like, that was interesting because we didn't have any, and then we have all of a sudden we got a bunch of down thumbs. So I'm assuming it's the same person. I don't know. We're getting a little bit of traction. We had a lot more numbers on the last episode.
Nice.
It could have been the thumbnail. It could have been me and you just riffing about some crazy malicious stuff, and it just a lot going on, and a fun week for me, and a very eventful week for me. I finally got some information on my shoulder, and Saad, have you ever had any like real serious injuries through your career?
Yeah, like I've had 3 surgeries. Both my left and right knee were operated on, and had a hernia surgery a couple years ago. But it's like modern medicine is so freaking amazing, and where years ago, like a knee surgery or certain surgeries would just like end your athletic ability, where like nowadays people are getting Tommy John surgeries or major knee rebuilds, and they're back at it and doing amazing stuff. So
you know how much I avoid the doctor, right?
Right.
So I punched the table like 6 months ago, man. It was like in March, whatever, 5 months, I don't know. So I punched the table. I know I did something.
Right.
It's never been right since. I like I said, I went to a bunch of classes. I tried to do it. I was doing pretty good, but you get to a certain range, whatever. And then you're telling me to go, and I avoid it, and I'm like, I'm getting better, and then got me crazy pain.
Yeah.
And then so that goes on for like 5 months, and then I finally get some MRIs, and I get I go to the doctor's office Monday, and he puts me into an X-ray machine, and they take all the pictures, and it's just destroyed. There's 5 ligaments that are gone in the rotator cuff. I just broke everything. He goes, "What'd you do to it?"
Right.
That's what he goes. How'd you do it?
Right.
And I go, I punched the table. He goes, you really punched that table hard. I go, oh, dude, I punched this table so fucking hard. I mean, I fucking hit this table instead of, like, I really lost my temper that day.
Sure.
I was fed up. And I haven't been, and I always tell people when I meet them, I have a crazy temper. I gotta be careful.
Yeah.
I've always had to be careful.
Right.
So it got away from me at 47, and look at what I'm paying for it.
Yeah.
A little baby crying like a little baby. Wah. Lost my shit, hit a table. And I don't know if it's the weight loss. I don't know, man. I don't know if it's the fitness, the speed, something.
Right.
The table, how it's built. My boy Mark built this. He builds everything super solid, and you just feel that. It's as solid as it gets, right? So it was just a dumbass ham bone move. But I'm scheduled for surgery, and this becomes a problem because we have this class, and I thought I was going to get better by the class.
Right. Yeah.
I'm always I'm like I'm stretching every day.
Right.
It doesn't matter when it's destroyed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but I don't think I can do no more damage to it. So,
I'm sure there's more damage that can be done.
but I think we got to see if we can
Sure.
push it off, or if
Right.
I just go and because I locked in and did
Right.
the 12 gauge the one day, but it's pretty light compared to I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We might see if we can push it, or push it to a different date,
Yeah.
maybe if possible.
Yeah,
but if not, I think I'm gonna try.
Right. Yeah, you probably need to reach out and talk to your surgeon to see, like, can the surgery be put off? Like.
And they can. They
Right.
can.
Okay.
So it's scheduled for October, and then I was going to see if we can put it off after that class, and that's possible, and then get it done in December. Or I can call Paley and see if maybe they have one in February.
Right.
Because after I get it done, October, 3 months later,
Right.
doesn't move for 3 months, I'm straight.
Right.
He's going to go in. It's only a 45-minute surgery.
Right.
He goes, it's totally destroyed, but I'm going to go in there and clean it all up in like 45 minutes tops,
Nice.
maybe an hour. I do them all day long. Get you all new shoulders. There's going to be all kinds of stitches in there, holding everything together. All your ligaments are going to be put back in place, and they're going to be all good to go.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can't move it. We're just going to hang it a little bit,
Right.
every once in a while. But then you're going to be you're going to do this for 3 months.
Right.
And I want you to do this for 3 months and don't use it for 3 months.
Yeah.
And then it's going to heal. And you're going to be fine.
Yeah, like Sway, my wife, she did a shoulder surgery maybe about 2 years ago. Her shoulder was all jacked up too, and it's back to working normal now. She's back to sparring, but it took her a while to come back because it was I think the muscle had detached from the shoulder.
Yeah.
I want to say the bicep muscle that runs up had detached, or was partially detached. I can't remember exactly, but they did shoulder surgery on her, and she's back to functioning, doing well.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that I have the coverage. It's awesome that I'm under Beth's plan.
Right.
This is incredible.
Yeah.
So there's no questioning what's going on. So I'm in a really I guess you would say, I'm not like religious, but like people would say blessed.
Sure.
And that's for sure true, right? I mean,
Right.
you know Beth. I'm the luckiest guy on the planet.
Sure.
So that's all good. And the problem is I'm so crazy right now with the biking and with the hiking and trying to be busy and trying to lose weight and actively. So it's gonna suck slowing down for 3 months. But in the end, I'll actually be able to, like, I can't pick up on the bike at all when I'm riding. I can't pick up on the bike and do anything. And Moose is making an appearance.
Yeah.
This is Moose. This is our boy Moose. This is my big boy, my Mastiff Rottweiler mix, Moose.
Let me get your chest.
So it's gonna be one of them days where I'm gonna have to sit down again for 3 months and relax and there's some other things going on with that anyways. I was on the you know how I'm always on the creek. I talk about the creek all the time. I'm kind of addicted to the creek.
Yeah.
So the other day we almost killed some friend on the creek, and then I get on the bike and I start planning this. I start doing half the creek for time, and I start timing it, and I'm getting pretty fast, right? And then I'm thinking, I just got the bike back tire from getting fixed. I just get it back. I go, I'm gonna do this creek run pretty early one day, and I'm gonna go the whole creek from 78 to the highway by myself, which I've never done by myself, on the bike.
Right.
No one holding me up. No looking at nothing. No taking pictures. And if I do, just one picture and that's it. And haul ass and see what's up. And Saad, I get on the bike and I go and I get halfway point and I get on, I keep going. And at some point there's all kinds of new water. And I gotta cross through like 4 or 5 crossings. And I gotta push the bike through them, and I'm just making sick time, dude.
Sure.
And then I get to one crossing and I think I'm washed out. And I sit down and I start having and I got a camel pack on for the first time.
Oh, nice.
So now I can put it in my mouth when I'm riding.
Yeah, hydrating is critical.
As I'm going.
Sure.
Well, normally I'm taking like 10 waters.
Right.
But I get off and I gotta get my pack off.
Sure.
Get a water, put everything back. Sometimes I'm counting all the bottles because they all fall out. And then I don't find them all, and then I gotta find it. It sucks, dude. It's just, So I've been doing the water bottle thing, like bottles of water, for 3 months. Now Beth gets me this 3-liter Camel pack, and I'm in a new world. I'm flying.
Right.
Now you heard the end of the story. You know what happened? You might remember. I called you first for a ride.
Oh yeah.
The end of the story is, I started skipping a chain about a mile from the end, and then and the bike is muddy as shit. We're talking about like 5 crossings, mud, craziness. I can't get it to go on. I can't get the chain to get on. This isn't science. This go here, turn it.
Sure.
It goes on. Flip the bike over after 30 times. Try it that way. It ain't working. But we got mud everywhere. And there's a creek. And I'm like 4 feet up on the creek. And I'm like, how am I going to get this thing in the creek? I can't go crawl down in there and shit. I kind of lean over, take the bike in one hand, kind of like sumo squat, plant, bend the bike down, start rinsing it off in the creek. One hand in the bike. I get the bike clean, all the mud off the cassette, all the mud off the gear, all the mud off the chain. Get it back up. I'm like, okay, now it's clean. It'll stay on. There's no mud on it. Chain's fine. Everything's working.
Right.
Everything's fine. Get it on. Can't keep it on, man. Can't keep the chain on. Eventually get it on. Ride at like 15 feet. The fucking bike just starts doing this. The hub just starts free spinning.
Really?
I'm like 300 yards from the fucking end.
That's enough to make you want to cuss.
Pissed, bro.
Right.
I'm smoking mad, man. I'm like 200 yards away, and here's why I'm mad.
Right.
The second I bought the bike, you put $2,300 down after tax for a bike.
Yeah.
There's no suspension on this bike.
Right. Yeah.
You buy a fat bike. It comes with 4.5-inch tires by 27.5.
Yeah.
They're huge.
Right. Sure.
It's called a fat bike.
Right.
You would think fat people might ride this fucking thing.
Right.
Maybe. In the name of it is actually a Yukon. So it's a giant Yukon.
Right.
Inundating that it's going to be
Durable.
tough.
Yeah.
Durable.
Sure. Right.
The hub is chronically bad on these things.
Okay.
It's in all the forms. Everybody. So I already put the money down, and then I find out the hub's shitty. I knew about it fucking 3 months ago. Because then you start doing the research.
Right.
After you buy something, you go in and look at forums.
Right.
Maybe you should do that first. You dumb idiot.
Well, because if you spent, like, say, had you gone to Walmart and bought one of their bikes, for $100 or $200, and then it breaks down, you're like, oh, okay, well, I
Makes
bought
sense.
cheap stuff. But when you buy a high-end bike, and Giant sells bikes that are marketed as high-end, and they put a price tag on it. Where you're talking about $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 plus.
Yeah, they got like $7,000 bikes.
Yeah. It's like, no, I don't expect that to break down.
Here's what's crazy, though.
I expect it to perform.
Here's what's crazy.
Right.
The hub blows out. I get a ride from my boy. You're training. My boy comes and gets me. He's down the street. He takes me home. I take it to the right-away bike shop.
Yeah.
He goes, oh, the hub blew out. I go, yeah. He goes, okay, so I'll call Giant in the morning. I don't hear nothing 2 days. I call him back. I go, what's going on with the bike? He goes, okay, so listen, Giant's pretty much shut down.
Huh.
All they're doing is taking emails. There's nobody to call.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
The factory's shut down. There's no business going on.
Right.
So whatever is shipped is shipped. So there's no warranty work. So I get on the phone with everybody else trying to find you a wheel.
Yeah.
And maybe I build you something and try to figure out a way to make you happy with a wheel.
Right.
And get the Giant thing later or something.
Right.
And I try to find a wheel for you for the last 2 days, and that's not happening.
Right.
There's nothing in the country. There's no parts.
Wow.
There's no availability. So whatever's happening at Giant's happening across the country. It's systemic.
Right.
So there is infrastructure that is absolutely not happening in the bike world right now, and I'm shut down.
Right.
So there's no fixing it.
Yeah.
The guy's like, it could be next week, it could be 2 months, I don't know. I go, okay, when are the new bikes coming? He's like, January. So there's no bikes even coming until January. They're not even speccing them out for delivery on the new models that they released this month. There's no bikes till actually January when the new year comes. So they usually release them in summer. They can't release them this year. So there's no bikes out. There's no bikes in the market. There's no bikes nowhere. At the same time I'm riding the Giant, the whole time I'm looking at this company called Wyatt Bicycles. Have I told you anything about them?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's an American-made company out of Wisconsin. Right. He makes some seriously sick shit. It's 3 dudes, and they're building really nice bikes for a really great price. The same price as the Giant. It's $2,200. That's the spec model, base model. That's not with any options. No seat post or nothing. No dropper seat post. To get that stuff you add on. But I'm trying to get the Giant paid off, pay off the jacuzzi, and by December I'm hoping to put an order in, or hopefully November, put an order in for a Wyatt, and then have it by my birthday in January. So maybe at least by January, into January, February, I got some bike coming, and then get the wheels for the Giant, and have both. Right. And then at least I can ride. Because this sucks. I went into straight depression. Right. I was like, oh.
Yeah, because you ride every day.
Sometimes twice a day.
Sure. Yeah.
Sometimes 3 times a day. Yeah. Sometimes I go at lunch.
Right.
Sometimes, if I'm not working, I'll get up at 5 like I was going to work, and then ride my morning shift, and then ride a lunch shift too, and then hit an evening shift like I actually was at work. Right. So if I work, I go ride in the morning, or hike, 4:30, 5, and then I work, and then I come home and I eat real quick, and then I go ride again. Sure. So that's my schedule. Right. I'm hooked on it. Right. I'm hooked on the endorphins. I'm hooked on seeing the creek. I got flashlights, all kinds of stupid shit. Right. Blinkers. I look like an idiot. I got a helmet, flashlight, blinkers. I look like an alien going down there. But I'm going. I love it, you know? Cool. So there's going to be multiple bikes. Right. Beth isn't even really giving me a hard time on it. Nice. Because she sort of understands it, and she knows I get addicted to stuff, and at least it's fitness.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And it's really hard to get hurt after I flipped that so hard the first week, and not take everything real serious now. So I haven't been doing anything stupid crazy at all. So I've been respecting it, and I've been riding really good, and just having a blast. So Beth hears all this. This is how cool she is. She hears all this. Oh, also, we're arguing back and forth about her. I'm like, go take the bike, go take the bike, go take the bike. She's like, I'm waiting for mine, I'm waiting for mine, I'm waiting for mine. Yeah. I'm like, before my bike was fine, why is it a problem now? Right. Well, I'm getting mine, so now I want to wait for that one. I was like, okay, but that's forever. We don't know when bikes are coming. Get on the bike, go get on the bike. She's busy, right? She's always working, she's training, she's doing both things all the time. To get on the bike's a pain in the ass if you don't want to go, right?
Yeah, because for those of you that haven't been tracking us, Beth is an active duty Army warrant officer. Yeah. They stay busy.
Yeah, dude, she's slammed.
Yeah, sure.
And some days when there's like a lot going on, she's not home maybe about 4 hours a day. Right. So she's real busy. So she has what they call she has problems running. She has a profile. She has real bad knees and kind of like asthma. And some serious knee issues, and she has a profile, so she has to do something else other than running. Sometimes it's a really long walk, and this year they changed it to a bike ride. So now she hasn't been riding the bike, so now she's like, okay, I need to get on the bike. Now there's no bikes. We can't get nothing. So she comes home yesterday, and she goes, what do you think about an exercise bike? You're getting your shoulder surgery, and at least you can still work out that way. Right. Even though you can't do nothing, you'll be in a sling. Sure. Put it in front of the TV.
It'll be a lot safer.
You can. I can't ride anything else. Right. You shouldn't hike.
Right.
You do anything stupid. You can't walk the dog. Right. To do anything to fuck it up would be retarded. He's telling me not to move it out of the sling for 3 months. He goes, slow recovery. He goes, quick surgery, slow recovery. I need 3 months of you doing nothing.
But you should probably drop retarded from your vocabulary.
My bad.
There's a lot of people who find that hugely offensive.
You know, my mom used to get on me about it, and I don't even recognize I do it sometimes. So I'm glad you got on me about that, because it isn't a good thing to put out in any context, really. Even even if I knew I was joking, it's sort of in my lexicon for some reasons. I didn't even realize I said it. So. You know, just a real slow recovery and take my time and get the shoulder back, and then I think I'll be better than ever. Because I didn't have no shoulder problems before it.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's damage from that one thing. I didn't play any sports where I was throwing anything ever or nothing like that. So yeah, it's like a boxing thing. It's a real common shoulder rotator cuff, real common injury. I'm surprised you haven't had more with BJJ.
The cool thing about BJJ is there's, you're going to take some injuries because, you're grappling, you're going 100%. But, really not as much injuries as, like, maybe basketball or definitely nowhere close to football or even baseball. Injuries are going to happen, in any sport. Heck, I got a good friend that plays soccer, and they're hurting themselves all the time. It's just like you're going 100%. You're doing athletic activities, something's going to be injured. And I had I think one of my younger brothers is like, Saad, you're having a lot of surgeries, and because I've had 3 in my life.
That's not a lot.
And I'm like, well, the thing about life is nobody gets out of it alive. Like, we're all going to die. But, it's like, how are you going to live? And, like, for me, I'm willing to sacrifice my joints, to do what I love to do, which is just a lot of athletic activity. But, my organs are doing pretty good. Where other people are sedentary, their joints may be pretty good, but their organs are suffering. Like, at the end of the day, you're either going to die from organ failure or you're going to, have joint issues. Like, the body's not intended to live or last for eternity. You're going to have some failures. And, when you was talking earlier about the temper, and, all of us, have to control our tempers. And I think, Dr. Jordan Peterson, he said something one time, he's like, a harmless man is not a peaceful man because he has no other choice. A peaceful man is a guy who's capable of great violence but chooses to keep it under control. And, that's sort of what you and I are. And it's almost like the analogy of like people mistakenly call the sheep peaceful. The sheep has no other choice but to be peaceful. The sheep can't kill nobody,
Right.
The wolf and the sheepdog, now they make a conscious choice as to whether, because they're both capable of great violence, and then they decide they're either going to be peaceful or they're not going to be peaceful. And I think that's the struggle that each man, each person makes is, we're capable, especially if you're training, of like incredible violence, but you're making a conscious choice to keep it under control. And then sometimes, you lose your temper, you hit the table, you wreck your shoulder, but that was the peaceful alternative as to hitting the person and wrecking them.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
And JB ain't got none of that coming. He's a good guy.
Yeah,
we were just around too much, to each other too much.
Yeah,
Somebody just too often, too little, too crazy a deal, too much stress, the Rona, all of it. Just a weird time, weird situation. Things do happen. The temper in me and anger, I think, is it's a really good topic that I never really stopped talking to my kids about at work.
Right.
Then I use myself as an example because I've spent so much of my life holding things in.
Right.
And my mom was telling me every day to be nice and say please and thank you. Like I never, till I was 40, she would say that. Make sure you're nice and say please. And she would always tell me you're bigger than everybody. Make sure you're nice. Don't hurt nobody.
Right.
Don't hurt nobody on accident. Because I would just hurt people on accident sometimes playing as a kid.
Right.
I was close to like 6'3" in 5th grade. I mean, I was just really big, real big. So things would go down, and I would like whatever, you wouldn't do nothing. Then one day you would like for instance, I got bullied by a guy in high school, like a football player. He was like a year older. He was the center. I was the nose guard. He was a short dude on steroids, super aggressive. I had to play against him. I took the nonsense all year long, got in a fight, and destroyed him in front of the whole entire locker room. But it took me all year long of stewing to do it. Right. So I had to stew for 3 months to blow my lid, when really I should have just probably slapped him the first day. Because he wouldn't have had much to say the first day. He didn't have nothing to say the last day. Right. There was not much he was going to say. Yeah. I was, I think, 3'10", 6'4", 13. Yeah. So the numbers are just crazy. Right. And everyone's telling me to be nice my whole life. And then my uncle would come over and be like, listen, man, don't be so nice. Sure. My uncle Dave raised me. It's basically my father in a lot of ways, right? This guy would live with us. He was a serious dude, really fun. And when I mean serious, I mean intellectually serious. He took the world on very seriously. He was very curious about things. He wasn't like visiting places, but he was reading a lot of books, and he was telling me about how people were, and telling me the nature of people, and what you had to be careful of with people. And some people are acting like good, and they're really evil. And he would remind me as a young child that there is evil in the world, and there are people that kill men, and you have to. And he would be like the man in my life, and kind of explain things, and beat my ass.
There you go.
All the time.
Right.
I was a rag doll for him, a big one too. He was 6'1", 280, and a very decent athlete, a soccer player. So my whole life was getting destroyed by Uncle Dave, up until, I'll tell you a funny story. So Uncle Dave and my cousin Kirk is 4 years older than me, 3 or 4.
Right.
And Dave's his adopted father. Kirk's on this side of the family. Dave's divorced. I'm over here. Dave's living with us after the divorce, off and on. I see him way more probably than Kirk does at some point. Only after some point. But up to that point, he was there every day. So Dave and Kirk are always fighting. He would bring Kirk over after teaching him how to box, and Kirk would come over and just beat the piss out of me with boxing gloves because I was so big. But I'm like in 5th grade hiding from this kid who's a menace. Just crazy aggressive, like, because Dave's been beating his ass too. So Dave's beating him up, he's beating me up. Dave's coming over beating me up too. We're always wrestling. I'm always in some chicken bone. He's always destroying me wrestling, always. Then I go into my freshman year. I start lifting like crazy. I was already lifting like 7th grade, so I was already pretty big, pretty strong when I went into high school. Started like lifting in 7th, 8th, 9th, go in, start playing football. Play all season of football. I'm like 310, 6'4", benching like 300, 14, crazy strong. I mean, freshman year I was doing 255. My sophomore year, 300.
Nice.
On bench press, crazy strong. So, Coach Alvin Davis, who everyone is super highly respected by everyone at St. P. High, needs a heavyweight for wrestling. And I had no wrestling practice, and I refused to wrestle. And he calls me out and bitches me out. Like, chop, chop, you're gonna wrestle better. Chop, chop, you over there. He calls me the biggest pussy in the world in front of the whole entire. This is regular school, by the way. It's 5th period. This isn't like after school at the locker rooms calling you that. This is in class calling you that because I didn't want to wrestle. I had never wrestled anybody but my uncle. My whole life. My uncle destroyed me forever.
It's amazing how public school teachers have changed over the years and what's acceptable and what's not acceptable.
Oh, he calls me out.
I remember my son, when he wrestled in high school, the coach, and he wrestled at a public high school, and the coach was endorsing this concept called the oil check, where they would put their fingers in their opponent's rear end, and that would make their opponent, of course, incredibly uncomfortable and maybe move in a certain direction or something. And I'm like, son, don't ever do that. And I'm like, please know, I would be so ashamed of you if you did that. If I saw you do that to an opponent, don't ever do that. I said, there's values. And it just blew me away that here's a public school teacher. We're not talking about private school. We're talking about a public school teacher that we're paying, our tax dollars are paying, and he's teaching kids to basically sexually assault each other in the name of winning. It's like, really?
And I think that might be common.
Yeah,
I think it might be
I don't
common.
think it's as common anymore. I think, like now we're like sort of in tune, like, hey, don't bring that crap around. But even, we're talking about, this is maybe, 10, 12 years ago. And it's like, really? Like, you're teaching kids this? You think that's okay? And
that's pretty crazy.
And, I remember having the conversation, because, of course, I confronted the coach over it. I'm like, don't teach my kid that crap. That's ridiculous. And, he's like, oh, you don't understand wrestling. And, he's like, jiu-jitsu, that's, that, we don't tap in wrestling. I'm like, I tell you what, you can roll with me, and I guarantee you will tap. You will ask me to stop twisting your joint.
Right. That's so fucking funny.
He didn't take me up on the invitation to grapple. But it's like, I just couldn't believe that he was trying to teach my kid something ridiculous like that.
I remember one of the first things we learned in football was to punch him underneath the
pads,
underneath in the ribs.
Right.
The first thing you do is come up with a jab, and dude, I tell you what, they do it to you in practice too.
Sure.
They teach you how to do that in practice.
Yeah.
Then you do it to your dude in practice.
Yeah.
Then you get in a fight over that shit in
Sure.
practice, and then the coaches sit there and go, "Yep."
Right.
It's kind of crazy. So, yeah, I remember some real crazy shit about football practice. I mean, we should talk about. Did you play football?
I did.
So we should just do a whole episode about. Cause I only played 1 year, but I could probably talk about. And I did nothing.
Right.
I sucked. But I could talk about that 1 year for days, like Al Bundy or something. Like
Sure.
I remember the practices. I remember dying.
Yeah.
I remember landing on somebody and breaking his sternum. That's how big I was.
Right.
I just landed on him. Snapped his sternum. Had to carry his books for another 12 weeks.
Huh.
I carried this kid's books after I sprayed. He was in a fucking... He was in one of them whole entire chest deals, dude.
Dang.
His whole chest... He had the arms out like this and shit. I had to carry his books for...
That's awesome.
Like, no. I just landed on him.
Right.
It was like, I hit him and then landed on him.
Right.
Like, I hit him pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't think I did it there.
Right.
But when I landed on him, and that shit was totally incorrect. Dude, we
Yeah.
walked away from that kid. Called him a pussy, walked away.
Right.
Did a whole nother 10 minutes of practice.
Right.
Nobody went back and got him.
Right.
And then somebody goes back and gets him.
Yeah.
And he's dead.
Right.
His chest is broken. That's just one story.
Yeah.
And I wasn't the biggest dude. And we were freshmen.
Right.
My friend Al went on to play pro football. 6'7". As a freshman.
Right.
260.
That's crazy.
And mean.
Oh, I bet.
Dude, an animal. When I'm telling you I didn't play football well, I am not the animal that football needs. That is an animal sport. If you think you're going to go in there and be all, hey, let's have a good day playing some football, guys.
Sure.
We're going to go in here and play some football today.
Right.
You're going to get fucking broken.
Sure. It's very violent.
And they're going to break you the next day.
Oh, yeah.
And the next day.
Right.
And if you don't break somebody, then you're just cannon fodder. So you need to turn it on at some point.
Yeah.
Or you're just getting destroyed constantly.
Right.
If you're not aggressive, that was me. I didn't know how to be aggressive on cue. You got dudes like Rusak that are just animals. I mean, just shredding everybody.
Right.
6'7", loving it. Like, I'll kill everybody. I remember he played Kill the Carrier once. And this is the team Kill the Carrier.
Yeah.
With pads. This is like a real Kill the Carrier game.
Right.
And Rusak took the ball and, I mean, went through like 7, 8 people. I mean, destroyed like 8 people.
Right.
And then hit like a wall of like 9 dudes. And came out with a broken collarbone. I mean, he was destroyed.
Right.
So even he couldn't kill everybody.
Right.
It would turn into, oh, okay, you're gonna truck that dude, and that dude, but we're all gonna watch that and come together and truck you. And dude, people went to the hospital all the time in football. We would have lightning storms. That's the only thing that shut it down.
Really?
In 1988 through 1991, the only thing that shut down football at all, and wasn't thunder, but if you saw lightning, if you saw it, they sort of cut it. But yeah, that was it.
They even do that in college football nowadays. In the outdoor stadium, if there's lightning,
yeah, if you see it,
they'll
I think they even take probably like Doppler and go within like 5 miles around. You need to be careful, right? You're in an open field.
Right.
It's surrounded by steel. You know, it was a friend of mine posted on Facebook that her baby's father was giving her a hard time about the kids taking a bath in a storm. And she didn't realize lightning could go through the pipes. She lived in Florida. This is like something you know from birth. Do not take a bath in a lightning storm. It's just bonehead move, right? So yeah, people don't know like basic things. Lightning will fuck you up in Florida.
Sure.
I mean, people die all the time from lightning in Florida. It ain't that rare. It's there's way more lightning than there is shark strikes. Put it that way. Way more lightning strikes than shark strikes. So yeah, my lawn man, his brother got hit by lightning on a golf course. Went straight through went underneath a tree, did everything you're supposed to do. Went and got low underneath the tree. It hit the roots like 100 yards from the tree. Shot in underneath the ground, came up through him, spiked his head, went straight up through the tree, vegetable for the rest of his life.
No kidding. Dang.
And that's a dude who did the right thing, got low, got underneath the tree.
Nature is rough.
Dude, quick. I drowned one side. I ever tell you that story?
No!
Straight up, dude. I used to be what's called a free diver. You know what they are?
I guess you dive without
You hold your breath.
Okay.
And we were at this place called Jenny Springs, and they had these caves.
I've been to Jenny Springs.
Okay, so that's when I talk about the river. That's the river.
Oh, okay.
I'm buying on that river.
Right.
To have access to Jenny Springs.
Right.
And the other 40 springs that are up and down that.
Right.
That's the most spring-infested river in the world.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most fresh water in the world.
Nice.
It's guaranteed, I think, Airbnb all year long because of Jenny Springs.
Mm-hmm.
And you can just canoe into it.
Nice.
So when I buy the house, it's on that river. The Santa Fe is where Jenny Springs is.
Right.
So I used to go to Jenny Springs from like 6th grade on.
Yeah.
And I would watch these divers down there. And I had a pool at my house. And I was already really good at holding my breath because I had a pool. Mm-hmm. And I was young. So I could already hold my breath like 2 minutes maybe. And then I could then I was real good at swimming.
Yeah.
I was always been a fish. My last name's Trout.
Right.
Always been a fish.
It was meant to be.
So I used to be able to go back and forth on my pool like 10 times.
Right.
Now we start going to Jenny Springs. I start going down.
Mm-hmm.
For years, I go down and I hang out at this rock.
Mm-hmm.
It's about 4 feet down to the hole at Jenny. You know, the one with the 2 holes left and right at Jenny Springs?
Yeah, I never dived into it.
But if you saw it from the outside, you would have saw 2 holes.
Right. Mm-hmm.
That's the one. It's only like 5-6 feet deep.
Yeah.
And then you go in, and there's a rock that hangs out about 30 feet back. And you can hang out at that rock and look into the ballroom. And this is the Jenny Springs main ballroom.
Yeah.
And I can't go into so much about Jenny Springs because I've been going there for years. Mm-hmm. But I'll just say that I started free diving like seriously at Jenny Springs.
Right.
And there was one that was like 55, 60 foot deep. Mm-hmm. And I would go down at the bottom of that and I would hang out for like a minute. Uh-huh. And divers would come out and these were connected to 2 tunnels. And they would see me and be like, whoa, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And I would just be chilling.
Uh-huh.
And I would sometimes like breathe the water, the air that was in the pocket above me because the divers looked like mercury.
Sure.
But I'm 11.
Right.
I don't know no better. Mm-hmm. I'm breathing reclaimed air from the divers sometimes. Down there 60, 70 feet. That's how I'm hanging out. Sometimes I hang out like 5 minutes sometimes. Like crazy, take like 2-3 breaths. This is how stupid I am. I'm a kid. I don't know no better. My mom's not down there hanging out with me 60 feet low.
Right.
She's reading a book. Mm-hmm. Right? So I'm doing all this crazy shit. I got all the gear. I'm at Jenny Springs. I'm going there every year. I'm hanging out at this rock 30 foot in, having no problems for years. Mm-hmm. I turned 16. I've been at this rock forever. Right. I've been watching people dive that ballroom. The ballroom's pitch black. It's about 100 feet back, maybe 120. And
I don't understand what you mean, ballroom.
It's an open cave area that they call the ballroom. Uh-huh. And it's a huge open area that people are diving now from the cave. So you go down the water 6 feet, you go into a cave, and there's a tube about 30 foot. It's like a cave entrance. And then there's a ballroom that opens up like a spherical, like a huge ballroom with stalactites and all this stuff hanging. It's a massive room. It's actually underneath the volleyball court. Huh. So if you're in the water, this is over at the volleyball court. That's how far back you are for perspective. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I dived this for years and years and years and years. Free dive it. I got all the gear, sick fins, I'm good. Mm-hmm. One day I meet this chick that's a diver. She's my age, she's 16. Her father is the sickest free diver I've ever seen. Yeah. Me and my friend Chris are just mortified watching this guy go down every time because he can hold his breath for like 3 minutes, 4 minutes, and swim. Wow. And he disappears with no second divers. I always have a second diver. Mm-hmm. My buddy Chris is always going down with me. He'll hold his breath a minute past me, and then go under, and then we dive together. He's a minute behind. I go out early. He comes out with me, and then I do it. We take breaks. So we always got a buddy diver free diving with us. Not that he can do much, but at least he can come up and say there's a problem. Yeah. This dude's solo, and his daughter is with him, and he's obviously a pro. Mm-hmm. He's like a fisherman or something, like a spear fisherman. So he's down diving like 4 or 5 minute dives. It's crazy. I've never seen nothing like it. He's holding his breath forever in this cave. He's telling me where it all goes. He's telling me there's a grate back there. He's telling me everything about the stuff. I know there's a grate at the back of the cave about 100 feet, maybe 120 feet back there. Doesn't seem like a far place to me, man. I'm holding my breath for like minutes after this little 30-foot jump in. I think I can go it, no problem. I've been seeing it for years. I can never actually see it, though. I've never actually seen it. I know where it's at. She hands me her flashlight. It's the dumbest thing I ever did in my life. She gives me this flash. She says, hey, borrow my flashlight.
Right.
And just like that, that's how you die diving.
Okay.
That stupid move of having the light as a freediver and not having it before, when I could actually see that room for myself, I bolted for the grate. I knew where it was. I just had to get to it.
Right.
So I swim like crazy to the grate. I'm in the ballroom. I got a light. I know there's a string there. You go there. There's a rock. Hit that rock. I know where it's at. People have been talking about it for fucking years.
Sure.
It's been an elixir for 5 years. I got the light. I see the grate now. I'm like 40 feet away. Oh, hell yeah, I'm going to get to it. Feel the water. I'm swimming like crazy. Swimming like crazy. Can't get... Now I'm making no progress. I'm like 20 feet away. I'm making no progress. I'm fighting the water coming out. It's just billowing out of the cave system. It's just 270,000 gallons a minute, I think. I think it's 270,000 gallons a minute or something come out of this hole.
Right.
I mean, it billows water. And it shoots me out, and I look back, and bro, the little speck of light that I came in, that was like this big when it was behind me, 30 feet, it was just like this little pinprick. I mean, just the littlest bit of light. It was so far away. It was like 180 feet, man. It was like 3/4 of a football field. I had done the dumbest thing in my life. I had way exceeded my abilities.
Right.
I had went so far past my ability to get back, and I'm in a cave. I'm in a cavern.
Right.
There's a roof above me. I'm in the middle of it too. You have to control yourself. I'm getting hit by the water. I start swimming back like insane mad, dude. Like you ain't never seen nobody swim. I'm not even thinking I'm dead yet at all. Not thinking nothing's wrong yet at all. I'm just swimming like crazy. Gotta get out of here. I grab the rope. I start pulling out. I start grabbing the rocks. I know how to move fast in this environment. I know how to move real fast. You don't even use your legs. You grab the rocks and pull as much as you can. I know that. I'm coming out like a madman. I see the exit. It's like 10 feet in front of me. I'm literally like 15 feet from the surface of the water. I'm straight. I get super happy, super excited about that. And I hit the surface floating.
Wow.
I came out of the hole limp.
You lost consciousness.
When I got super happy, I think that was me going out.
Nice.
And I came out of the hole limp. I came to the surface, floated right up, never breathed. My buddy got me up, smacked me.
Right.
I went, dude, I got all the way to the grate. He's like, dude, you just came out fucking dead.
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, what?
Right.
He's like, you literally just woke up, bro.
Yeah.
I'm like, no way. He's like, fucking dude, for real. And I never did it again.
I bet.
Dude, I never did it again.
Sure.
I got certified. I was 19, I think, when that happened. No, yeah, I was 19 when that happened. I got certified diving that year. Yeah, I got certified diving that year, went advanced certified, went rescue certified, actually had a rescue. This is what I do. I just get stupid about shit.
Sure.
I just take whatever the hell I'm doing into insanity and became a diver. And then the fucking boat got wrecked with the dive company I was working with, and everyone lost all their gear, and it got real salty with the insurance claim, and there was no insurance, and that sort of fizzled away. So diving, because diving's always a trip. There is no tournament in diving, right? And that you could just drive to, right? It's almost like that, but you can do tournaments local, right? Diving, you have to go on a trip somewhere to see something. It's almost a rich man's game. And then, as 19, it's very hard to afford that.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So yeah, that's my drown story. I drowned once. But it was very peaceful.
Sure.
I mean, extremely peaceful. I was extremely excited about getting out. I was happy. I think it would be that way anyways. Even if you knew you were dying, I think you would still have like a blow of adrenaline release. Probably what it is. Mm-hmm. Probably like an adrenaline. You ever had anything crazy like that happen to you? You ever thought you were dead for a second or anything?
No.
I had a weird one when I quit drinking, man. I think I've like given you cursory tales of it, but I don't know if I ever explained it. It's my heart stopped for 7 days.
You said 7 days.
Yeah, man. Like I detoxed for 4.
Your heart can't stop for 7 days.
Well, they brought it back every day.
Oh, so every day it stopped,
and then they would bring it back.
And then they bring it back. Oh, okay. I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Because I'm just saying, if your heart didn't beat for 7 days,
no, it would
like you're a zombie.
It beat it the whole time. It never really stopped beating, right? Right. What happened is I go 4 days into detoxing. Just a real quick story. I got pancreatitis for a month.
I don't think you've ever told a real quick story.
It's true. It might be the Stomp show on this one. I go in with pancreatitis. I have pancreatitis for a month. I still go. And this is weird because next week's my 8 years. No drinking is next week. So
congratulations. Actually,
we were gonna go to Papa Do's again if you wanted to go.
Sure.
So we'll probably do Papa Do's on Saturday.
Yeah.
Trey's going too. So
nice.
So that plan's still on.
Right.
So
I was just at Trey's place. Because Trey owns a massage place on base called the Spa, and I tweaked my back. I was sparring yesterday, and it's like in San Antonio, if you're gonna go anywhere, you go to the Spa on base. The only problem is you gotta have base privileges to get on there. You know, so like if you're a regular civilian that with no affiliation in the military, you can't get on there. But our friend Trey Wilkins runs a massage place on Fort Sam Houston, and he's got therapists in there that are like, they're just the best in the world.
Armando is so good.
And like Marcos is who I always go to, and this guy is a killer. Like you go in there, you know, like when I was young, you'd be like, hey, I don't want no dude giving me a massage. Give me the you know the pretty girl. Now it's like, no, give me the dude with the big hands.
Yep.
It's gonna like work these muscles and drill into me.
I think I went to the same guy.
Really, Marcos, and he's super talented guy, Marco. But Trey runs a great business. It's called the Spa, and man, so I went in there today, and because like I said, I was sparring yesterday because one of my guys is competing on Submission Hunter Pro. It's you get up on a big white stage. There's people sitting all around you, and you go up against another guy. So he's a black belt. He's going to compete against another black belt this Friday.
Sick.
And so I'm sparring with him yesterday, and I just feel something in my back just go, like that little like strain. And we finished sparring, and I was like, damn it. And then I knew I couldn't spar that night because it was like yesterday at lunch. And then I was like, okay, let me call Trey. Let me get an appointment and see if my guy Marco is available. And they're like, yeah, 1 o'clock tomorrow. So I taught class today at 11:30.